Oh, hi everyone. Hello, hello. It's me, the record-breaking Lord Haven, only 34 minutes late. That's pretty good for me. Shall we begin before I waste anyone else's time? Any more time, rather. Alright, let's get on with it. So, we've done, 4 live streams already? Going through all of the sigils, the coat of arms from the various Lord Paramounts and Kings, the extinct houses, the minor lords and barons, the landed knights, the personal sigils, and we are finally ending by looking at the coat of arms of the Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon sigils. So these are the sigils that are made purely for TV. So it's a visual medium. I guess, George can sit there and come up with some cool ideas and write them down, but for the show, they have to work with what they think will translate the best on TV for the tone and the style they're going for. So you can already tell by looking at the sigils at the bottom, the colours are a lot more muted. They're way more muted than the interpretations on the wiki and so on, based on the George's descriptions. And they're some of them are a lot more minimal, simplified. Some of them are completely different or missing key elements. But there's a reason for the difference. Whether it works, I'm not sure. I would have preferred the more the more maximalist sigils, the brightly coloured ones, but specifically, House of the Dragon is more colourful. Game of Thrones specifically, a lot more grey and black and brown and beige. There's a big focus on darker colours because feeding into that trope about if you're making a dark, gritty medieval show, then it needs to be visually dark. And I will also say I didn't add in every single sigil. There were some sigils I couldn't quite verify whether they were show sigils. Like I couldn't find any images of them in the show, screenshots or anything. And some of them aren't included because they are pretty much identical. So like the Greyjoy sigil in the show is pretty much identical to how it's described in the book. So I don't have it here. This is something else entirely. We'll get to that soon. But I'm sure none of you care about that. You're all probably talking in the chat about how late I am. The wait is Grover. God damn it. Did someone say it's come over? It's officially come over for Fantasy Haven. It's half an hour late. It's absurd. Ridiculous. Miss Piggy out. Kermit Tully's been waiting for so long. See, that's my apology. The Kermit voice is the apology. Okay, shall we get into it? As always, like this video to help it spread, and play along in the chat, vote in the polls, and let me know what you think about each sigil. I really want to know your opinion, and if you want to send me a specific comment, theory, a temporary bribe, or whatever, send me a super chat to support the channel. This is my job, it helps a lot. One of these days I do need to set up Streamlabs, because YouTube does like to take a big bite out of your super chat, which doesn't really feel, it's not fair on you guys, right? If you're sending in money, you want it for me, you don't want YouTube to snatch it up. So at some point I'll set up Streamlabs, because that money goes directly to me and YouTube doesn't like steal it away like another thing is Fantasy Haven merch is officially launched, right? Before I dive into this, I do want to say, if you go to fantasyhavenmerch.com, you can see a small selection of some reasonably priced merch. We got a couple of t-shirts, the Fantasy Haven logo t-shirt, Late Lord Haven t-shirt. We have a hoodie with a Fantasy Haven coat of arms, newly made. We got some mugs. We got the beanie with the Fantasy Haven sigil on it. So whether you want some clothes or some mugs, you can go check it out. In the future, I'll be releasing more stuff, like, hopefully caps or like plushies or stickers or whatever, pins. But for now, I'm going simple just to see what kind of design people are interested in. And yeah, it's on Fourth Wall, so I've ordered some samples. The quality is good. It's not like there are some dodgy sites, right, where like the t-shirts fall apart or whatever. No, this is like high quality stuff. And I deliberately bought all the samples to make sure, and I'm currently wearing it now. I'm wearing a Fantasy Haven hoodie right now. It's pretty cool. So if you're interested in that, check it out. Okay, I needed to get the merch thing out of the way, because I did a big merch promotion in my recent video, which was an edited down version of my first sigil tier list, and like literally no one has watched it, so I was like, oh, so my big merch video promo thing has flopped, so I'll do it here in the live stream. But that's enough. Let's jump into I like to start with the north, so I'll do the north first, then after that we can do voting on the various places. Actually, no, that's not fair. I changed my mind. Let me know in the chat, where shall I go first? We have the north, we have the Riverlands, we have the Vale, we have the Crownlands, we have the Westerlands, the Stormlands, a couple of Iron Islands, and a few Reach houses. No Dornish. No Dornish. The Dornish ones weren't really worth it. So throw out a region you think I should do first, and I'll talk about them, and I could even compare them if you want. This might be a shorter live stream than usual because I'm starting late, and While you're all letting me know, shout out to the super chat from Boomler. Thank you very much. Who says, "Oh look, it's the loser who can't even be on time." Hold on, wait, no. Let me reread that, Boomler. Look, it's the loser who can't even be on time. So you made a minor mistake, so therefore your entire super chat is invalidated, and I look cool and you don't. So minor grammatical mistake. I have disintegrated you. But thank you very much. I need a drink. Okay, what do we think? People are saying Riverlands, Vale, Riverlands, North. Looks like Riverlands is winning. I need to double check it's not the same person saying Riverlands over and over. No, it's not. Riverlands. Yeah. I'm going to go Riverlands. Sure. So we're starting with the Riverlands. When it narrows down, then we'll start doing the polls, because the polls can only fit 4 options in, right? So to start off with, we have the Game of Thrones version of the House Tully sigil. So I think, would you guys like it? You guys and girls, would you like it if I were to compare the A Song of Ice and Fire ones, or at least the wiki interpretations? I think that would be fun, right? I'm not necessarily judging them based off of... no, I kind of am judging them compared to the other ones. Yeah, I'll try to... Yeah, no, I won't judge them... That's the thing. Do I judge them just compared to each other? Or do I judge them in the context of the book ones? I'll do the latter. I will judge them in the context of the book ones. Yeah, against each other and the book ones. So, oh, that's not an image at all. That's just random text. What the hell? Let me try that again. The Boomer Lord Haven strikes again. Ah, there we go. I don't know why that's so low res. But we know the show one is the Silver Trout, and it's on the background is blue and red wavy. It's supposed to look like the water, I suppose. And the show version is different. The show version is a Silver Trout leaping over the waves, right? So here we have bendy white, blue, white to look like a couple of waves to create a sea effect, and then blue at the bottom, deep blue sea, and then above we have the red. So it's almost like a red background with waves over it, and the fish is leaping out of the water, and he's looking angry, right? This fish is looking like a bit derpy, and this guy's looking furious. It's like, yeah, we're marching into war, because he's an angry fish. He's not just a fish, he's an angry fish. I do like that touch. I do like the sort of slightly anthropomorphic element there of the angry fish. You can see them, imagine them doing that in a coat of arms to be more like, So the fish leaping over the waves versus... I do quite like it. So again, remember the colours are very muted, right? Because HBO, they want it to be dark and gritty, so it's not super vibrant. So all of them are going to have the caveat of they would probably look better if they were more vibrant, right? But do I prefer the fish leaping over the waves, or because I do like the Tully sigil, but I also... Do I prefer one? Because I think I put the Tully on C. I think this is also C. I do... Yeah, this is C. The question is it better than the book one? I'm going to say... I think they're equal. I think they do different things. That's such a lame answer. I promise you I'm going to be more decisive in this stream. But for the fishy boys, Le Fiche, they're both in C tier. I'd say they're doing different things. They both look nice. Yeah, it's an okay sigil. It's fine. What are people in the chat are saying? Show's better. Book sigil looks like he's about to burst into song. The show's better. The book's better. Mixed responses. But people seem to like maybe the show one better. But here we have... Okay, so just like how the Blackfish's sigil is in the book is just the Tully one black, likewise this is the show one but black. I'm not sure if this is actually in the show or if the assumption is that the Blackfish's sigil is identical to the show version with the Blackfish. Yeah, it's also C tier. It does the same job. It's cool. It's okay. But moving on to House Frey. So this one is far more detailed, right? So the book version, if I can find it, is a silver no, it's not. It's a blue castle on silver. And so this is the interpretation, but it's the Twin Towers of Frey, blue on silver. This has actually swapped the colours around, which is quite funny because in the books, the only person who has the swapped Frey colours is Bastard Walder Rivers, right? Because he's a bastard, and he's got the red bend sinister from the red line going from the top right to the bottom left. And so the show version, however, we have, well, not even silver, a grey castle. So we're going more realism here. It's a grey castle because the castle is grey, right? It's grey stone. It's the Twin Towers of Frey, and the background is the background's silver, I think, actually, but they've included the waves, so presumably representing the Green Fork, because the twins spanned the Green Fork River, and that's how they became rich and powerful, because they would collect tolls for people who wanted to cross the bridge, a very strategic area. And so here we have the Twin Towers in the water. So the blue is in the water, and the towers are sticking out, and then I think the background above the water, sort of representing, like, the sky, is sort of silvery. So this is one of the instances where the show version is actually more complex and than the book version, which is usually the other way around. So that's quite interesting because So the question here, because like I said, minimalist or maximalist, one or the other is not inherently, good, right? They're not better or worse than the other. It all depends on the context and the elements in here. And I do have to say, I think I do prefer the simplicity of the book version. I do like the blue towers on silver. I think silver, the towers being in the water is cool, but like I said, simplicity is key here. And it's good, but I don't think it's quite as good as the book version. And I do like the towers being blue, I quite like. I feel like if it was silver towers if it was, grey or silver towers, it's almost too simple. It's a bit bland, but having like a nice, bright blue, vibrant blue, it's like, yeah, they are highborn, they are nobles, they're showing off their bright colours. Whereas this one, the colours are far more dull. Okay. So it's not as good as the Frey one, but it's good. It does its purpose. It's not a bad sigil by any means. There's a reason for it, right? They're showing off the source of their wealth, tower in the river. It's just it's C tier, I think. It's okay. I can't remember where I put the Frey one before. It may have been B tier. This one's C tier. It's a low C tier. It's not as good as the book version, and it's just okay. It's a big part. These all might end up being just a big part of okay. But people really don't like this. People are saying D tier, E tier, G tier. People really... I don't think it's that bad. Maybe when I start looking at other sigils, it's gonna... it might end up going down, honestly. In my estimation. Not like it matters. All the Freys in the show dress like brigands for some reason, says Joseph. Yes, I'm not a fan of the costumes in the old Game of Thrones show, and I especially don't like how all the Freys were dressed like peasants. They all had they were all dressed in like, not rags, but like very poor looking leather outfits and like the dumb hats, and they all just look like a bunch of peasants huddled in a cold castle. And it's like, these people are meant to be rich, they're meant to be like Lords Bannerman. They're meant to be able to raise more levies than even the Tullys. They have a larger host than them. But anyway, let's move on, because this is going to be a shorter stream because I started so late, so I need to be more decisive. So the Malister sigil here is, I don't know why I added this actually. This is pretty much the same as the book version. It's a silver falcon on purple. That's the book version. I don't think there's much of a difference. Obviously, it looks different. It looks different from the wiki interpretation, but this is just an interpretation of that. A silver falcon on indigo. Yeah, I mean, I said the original one is A tier. I'm putting this in A tier. I don't think it looks as cool as the interpretation. Actually, wait, no. Hold on. I need to rethink this. So when I was judging the book sigils, it was very, I made it very clear I'm judging the ideas, not necessarily the execution, because I'm not judging the wiki sigils, I'm judging the book sigils, and I'm just visually showing them, right? Whereas these are visual. These are taken from, if not official Game of Thrones, like behind the scenes books and footage, then like background scenes and like tournaments on banners, on shields and battles, that kind of thing. So this is visual. I am judging this visually. I can't just say, well, I gave the other Malister one S tier, and this is doing the same thing, a silver falcon on indigo, so that has to be S tier. No. This is actually visual. This isn't the concept I'm ranking. And that falcon looks fucking stupid. That falcon looks dumb as hell. Like, that's the goofiest looking falcon I've seen. You couldn't have drawn something cooler. Like, the beak so far apart, the tongue is so thick. He looks like Bart Simpson being strangled, Yeah, I'm not a fan of the... Or it looks... That bonks it down. Maybe to B. I'm actually really not a fan of the way that looks. But it's still like... I can't deny that the colour scheme and the falcon is cool. So it's above average, but the way they've designed the falcon looks goofy. Add the Dane Sigil Haven if you bother to add Malister. Okay. What is the Game of Thrones Dane Sigil again? I think it was, I didn't add it because it was too similar. Where are we? What do people think? Yes, the Malister eagle. Sorry, I kept saying falcon. It is an eagle. Yeah. The Arryns have the falcon. The Malisters have the eagle. My bad. Ooh. Yeah, no. I think the thing is that I did see the Dane sigil, but I couldn't verify it. I couldn't find where it actually appears in the show. Aha! I found it. That didn't take long. It appears... Ah, I see. So there are two Dane sigils. The conspiracy unravels. So first off, we have... Hold on. The Danes... Okay. This is where we go to Dawn. There are various Dane sigils. Don't worry. I will add them when we get to Dawn. But let's move on to House Blackwood. Scoop. So here we have... Very similar to the book one, but again, minimalist, simplified. The white weirwood tree, 3 ravens above it, and then there's the kind of dark red background. So the Blackwood sigil is the white tree on a black border, and then that black border, on a black shield, and then that shield is surrounded by a red border, and there's several black ravens or crows surrounding it. So I think the use of white, black and red on top of each other looks way more satisfying than this. In the book version is way more satisfying than the show version. Again, the simplicity is quite nice. Just having the 3 ravens above it is kind of cool. You could argue that all the ravens flocking around the shield in the book version is almost too much in comparison. Although I did give it S tier, but... I know this just stands out more. It stands out. It's exciting. The colours work really well together. This is a lot more boring. Again, part of that is because of how dull the colours are. But it's good. It's good. It's not S tier, but it's a good sigil. 3 black ravens above a white tree on red. I'm gonna put it on A tier. It's not S because it doesn't have. It's not as special as the book version, but it's good. I think it's still decent. Next up, we have House Bracken. Now, I think the House Bracken TV show sigil might actually be better than the book one. Because the book one has the worst sigil colour of all, brown, right? It's a red horse on a yellow shield with a brown border. That's the show. That's the book version. I have to keep clarifying because some people listen to this, they don't watch it. But the show version is just the red horse on yellow without the brown border, and I think that looks way better. The red and also, red horse on yellow, and it's kind of like the yellow's kind of like a mustard, and the red's a dark red, and I think that is less garish than the bright red and bright yellow. So yeah, this is better than the book version. It's the first time I've said that. That's actually really cool. Now, is it where does it belong? I think it belongs in B tier. I think that's good. That's a good sigil. I quite like that. Still not as good as the Blackwoods, I'm sorry, but I like that. And then finally we have, like I said, there are more sigils, but the ones that are too similar to the books I'm ignoring for the most part. All the ones that I can't really verify where they come from. But here we have House Strong. From House of the Dragon specifically. We don't see this in Game of Thrones. We see it in House of the Dragon, of course, because we have Lionel Strong and then Harwin Strong and Larys Strong. Now, House Strong, I think I gave it like a really, really low score, right? Like F tier? Did I give House Strong F tier in my previous streams? I think I may have. And you can't blame me. Because look, it's a blue, a red, and a green line smashed together on a white background. It's terrible. It looks awful. And each one is meant to represent a river, right? The Blue Fork River, Red Fork River, Green Fork River. But here they've actually turned the red, blue, and green into wavy rivers. So they are wavy rivers on a field of white. So they're taking that original strong sigil, respecting it, but doing something that looks less, almost like clinical, like mechanical. We got the flowing rivers on the white, and these rivers are flowing out of a white hand on a black shield. So I'm not sure if this is meant to be Lionel Strong's personal coat of arms, where he's added the hand, or whether the hand has been added to the sigil in the same way that the 7 white shields have been added to the House Darklyn sigil, this one. Because the Darklyns added the 7 white sigils to represent the fact that there are 7 members of the Kingsguard seven members of House Darklyn who have served in the Kingsguard throughout history, so that's their boast. So this could be House Strong being like, we are adopting the hand sigil as a boast. Yeah, one of our members, Lionel, became Hand of the King, and we're proud of that. So yeah, this is way better than the book version, so it's better than F. It's cool as a sigil. It's like, yeah, it does kind of the hand. If the hand wasn't there, it might be lower, but the hand does make it kind of cool. Yeah, it looks like he's shooting colour beams out, says Carl. Yeah, it's nice. I'm kind of thinking C tier. Like it's a nice average sigil. Or am I being too harsh? Is it actively a really good sigil? I might put it on B just because of the hand. Like, the hand really improves the aesthetics of that. Okay, next up we have... Oh, we're done. The Riverlands are done. So, get deciding in the chat, everyone. What do you want next? Do you want me to explore the north? Do you want me to explore the Vale, the Crownlands, the Westerlands, the Stormlands, the Reach lands, the Dawn lands, the Iron Island lands, etc.? What are we saying? Yeah, people were saying B and C about the strong one. Vale, we got North, we got Crownlands, we got Vale, we got North again, we got Reach, we got Vale. Vale and North seem to be the most popular so far. We have another North, a few more Norths, the North. It looks like North is winning. I think we're moving on to North. That's a good choice, actually, though. Lots of sigils in the North. In the North! Okay, let's start with... Cut it out, chat. We're going over to the North. It's been decided. First off, House Stark. So, the House Stark sigil in the show is very similar, actually, to Robb Stark's personal coat of arms in the books. So let me get up. A cheeky comparison. So obviously here we have, as we know, House Stark in the books. Whoops. which is the leaping grey direwolf on a stark white field, no pun intended. And then Rob's personal coat of arms was the grey direwolf head on the white field. And so it looks like, I don't know why that's not transparent. So it looks like the show has taken inspiration from Rob Stark 1 and they've only included the wolf's head. And instead of having the grey wolf's head on white, it's even more different. The sigil in the background is split in two. Sort of the bottom third is green, sort of almost like, I guess, the ground, the grass, and then the top 2/3 behind the head are a sort of cream colour. I guess they might have and I do remember there's some behind the scenes footage of that first season, and the designer did have like a grey wolf on white in the background, so clearly they did experiment with the book sigil, and then maybe they decided that grey on white didn't look very good on camera for whatever reason, and so they added in a few more colours. So 2 things to note. First off, I'm not a huge fan of the background colours. I think this should be the grey direwolf head on white. I don't like the cream and the green. Not that it's unpleasant or garish, it's just unnecessary. You know, I really like the big Lord Paramount sigils being a main element of one colour in front of 1 or 2, you know, bold colours. I don't want. It's funny. I've just described what this is. It's a one element in front of 2 colours. What I mean is, I like preferably one colour, right? So I like the Tyrell golden rose on green. I like the grey white direwolf of Stark on white. Sorry, the grey direwolf on white. I like the red Lannister, the golden Lannister line on red, the golden Bracken on black. I like it, you know, 2 colours, nice contrast. I don't want too much going on for the Lord Paramounts. Like, simplicity is key for those ones. So I don't like that sort of weird creamy white and green. However, that being said, the Stark head is incredible. It looks so cool. It is genuinely super intimidating. Because it's just the head, you get to blow it up and put more detail into it. And so there's a proper focus on those white, the white eye, right? The white direwolf eye, which without the pupils, it looks feral and wild and menacing. It's scowling. Its teeth are bared. It's you can see that it's snarling, and the fur is represented in quite is exaggerated here, to the point where it almost looks hard, right? It doesn't look like soft fur. It looks like you can imagine running your hand over it and it being coarse and rough and getting everywhere. So yeah, I think that's really awesome. I think the head is great. This angry, fierce direwolf, it genuinely looks scary. If seeing that in battle, I would probably turn and flee. So the background lets it down. So the head is like S tier. The background is like D tier, E tier. I'll have to go somewhere in the middle. I'm going to go... Would people be mad if I put it in B tier? Because I really don't like the background, but I really like the head. So I'm going to go B tier. What do we think? Yeah, the fur looks like scales. That's what I was trying to say. But I quite like that because it makes it look hard and rough and harsh and dangerous and sharp. I like it. It feels like the fur is meant to be scale armor. Yes, it looks like he's wearing scale armor. Very nice. Okay, next up we have... Now, these are sigils that have no comparison because they're not in the books. They're the personal coat of arms of Bran Stark and Sansa Stark. We'll start with Bran Stark. So I think this is after he becomes king in Season 8. His personal coat of arms is a raven. It's a three-eyed raven. So in the show they kind of mixed the three-eyed crow with blood raven, and so it became the three-eyed raven. But blood raven wasn't really blood raven. He was just called the three-eyed raven. But anyway, so it's a raven with 3 eyes, and it's silver, and it's on, again, a kind of a white, silver and white, a kind of a creamy white, not too stark or bold for TV, so they dulled a bit. And again, it's very minimalist, right? Like, it's not even, it's like it's a skeleton of a raven. Am I right? Because it looks like there are blank eye sockets, and that kind of looks like a rib cage underneath the head, and it's not even full wings with feathers. It's like lines. Again, very minimal. I'm not sure if it's just meant to be a very minimalist raven, or if it's meant to be like a raven skeleton. So the concept of a three-eyed raven skeleton, grey on white. Oh yeah, I guess it is grey on white, right? Because it's meant to be representing it's probably harkening back to the Stark colours, the grey direwolf on that kind of creamy white in the background. So the colours are nice, the concept is nice, if I am correct, if it is meant to be a raven skeleton. I don't think the design is actually that great. You know, like, I don't know, I feel like I'm expecting more based on the design. So people in the chat are really disliking it. People are saying F, people are saying D. Okay, so we're not gonna rank it low just because it's not in the show. Just because it's not in the books. We're also not gonna rank it low just because we don't like Bran Stark in the show. We don't like how the show ended. We don't like King Bran, etc. I get it. We're not gonna rank it based on that. So we're purely detach it from the show and just like, is it a cool sigil? Is it a cool coat of arms? So how it links to Bran in a cool way. In the show, I like the Stark colours. I like the concept. The execution's not great, and we do actually have to bear that in mind when we're looking at the show. But I think I'm actually gonna go A for that, which is funny because everyone's saying F. Damn, this might be my most controversial choice. Most of the times, people are either split or we're on the same side. This is the first one where so many people are like, F, F, F. Yeah, well, I'm putting it in A tier. What are you going to do? I say what you can do and like the viewership drops by like 80%. Like, no, come back. Someone said something. Useless Meatball said, hello, Fancy Haven, love you. Well, I love you too, Useless Meatball. You're very kind. But you are a useless meatball. But next up we have Sansa's special coat of arms. I don't know why I said special, I meant personal. And she wears this on her outfit in season 6 onwards. So again, this isn't in the books, this is just in the show. But Sansa's one is a white direwolf head with red eyes, sort of entangled in white weirwood branches with red leaves on a black background. It honestly looks like the coat of arms of a character that should be like half Stark, half Blackwood, right? Like, if this feels like it should be a Stark Blackwood cadet branch of some sort, which would work because the Blackwoods are First Men heritage, and they used to be in the north until they were kicked out and fled to the Riverlands, and they do worship the old gods. But yeah, needless to say, this is a beautiful sigil. I think the colour scheme is gorgeous. The white, red and black, perfect. It's the reason I like the Blackwood sigil, because the colours work together so nicely. Unlike the Raven, where I think the design wasn't great, the design here is beautiful. Again, we have the Stark head that I love, but he's albino with red eyes. Again, makes you think of Ghost, so I'm not entirely sure how this links to Sansa Stark. You have the weirwood, the white weirwood on black with the red leaf. Aesthetically, it's incredible. And you can even see, like, the fur/scales of the direwolf's neck are, like, breaking apart. Maybe forming the tree, or I don't know. It's gorgeous. It's wonderful. Visually, it's S tier. But, what does it have to do with Sansa? Like, genuinely, what does this have to do with Sansa? So we have, first up, the colour scheme. White direwolf head, red eyes, that's Ghost. And that's basically Ghost. That's Jon Snow. Right? The white weirwood trees. Okay, well, that's Bran Stark. His connection to the weirwoods. Using his connecting to weirwood net and all his visions and stuff. I don't get what this has to do with Sansa, really. Thematically, or, you know, in any way. Outside of the simple fact that she is a Stark. So unless I'm missing something. But despite that, you could just say, oh, well, maybe Sansa just likes those colours. So, yeah. I want some scenes of, like, show scenes where they're actually, like, asking people to make them. And their Bran's like, could you design a sigil for me? I'd like to be like a raven skeleton, and not too edgy, just, just like, wow, with the Stark colours. Is that too much to ask? Or Sansa being like, I want a new dress, but could I have like a Stark head, a direwolf head, but it's got scales that are breaking off and a tree's growing out of it, just, across my chest? That'd be nice, thank you. And some poor servants like, Jesse, what the fuck are you talking about? Okay, we're going S tier. Yeah, it looks too nice for me to go lower. I could have been cynical. I could have been like, it doesn't quite fit with that, but it's fine. It's pretty. Thank you for the super chat from Jasper Lane, who says, and I assume he's saying this while looking side to side suspiciously, then leaning in. He says, I hear you take bribes. Is this enough to lower the three-eyed raven to D? Now listen, I've made it super clear that I don't take any bribes. So no sigils will be moving whatsoever, and if they do happen to move from one place to another, it's not me, it's the PC messing around. So, sorry, but no. And speaking of, there has been a glitch. It looks like the three-eyed raven has gone down to D. That's a shame. Anyway, moving on. Thank you very much, Jasper. And I'm telling you now, my bribes are temporary. I'm an honourable man. I will not submit to corruption and greed and avarice. No, I will stay strong. I promise you. But for now, it can stay there. Let me just quickly check. Speaking of, let me check the chat. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So next up, we have House Bolton. Now this one is quite a departure from the book version. So in the book version, of course, we have the red flayed man on a field of pink representing skin, and then there are red blood drops over. There we go. Show version is very different. First off, it's completely annihilated the pink, because pink is for girls, and this is a dark, gritty fantasy show, and we don't have pink in this show. I was so angry I broke a shard of broken ruler into the curtain. That's how mad I was. And there are other differences too. The flayed man is upside down, and he's on a cross. And his feet and hands are not flayed, but his body is. And his head isn't flayed, but his body is. So it's a flayed body, a flayed torso and limbs, on a white cross. And he has a white head and white hands and white feet to represent the fact that they haven't been flayed yet, on black. Or dark blue. Yeah, so first off, we have to ask ourselves why they changed it. They didn't want the pink. Why not have the entire body flayed? Why not have the head and the hands flayed like in the show version? Maybe they designed a flayed head and it looked too goofy, so they removed it. Why is he upside down? I don't know. I guess to emphasize the idea that he's being tortured, right? If he was just floating in the air, maybe they didn't want to do that. Maybe they wanted him on a cross, upside down, to signify, like, yes, torture, flayed, this is what we do to our enemies, make it a bit more obvious. Obviously that sigil does act as some form of foreshadowing, where season 3, Theon Greyjoy is being tortured on the cross and he doesn't know who could be responsible. But throughout that season, we do see the Bolton banner and we see the cross. So it's a kind of, haha, it was a Bolton all along. Which is kind of neat, although it does make Theon out like a bit of an idiot, because Theon's like on a cross, being tortured, being flayed, and he can't work out who it is. It's like, did you attend any of Maester Lewin's lessons or whatsoever? He probably didn't, to be honest. So yeah, red and black is usually a cool colour, especially for villains, but I just think it's so disappointing compared to the red on pink. Boo, they should have... the lack of colour in the clothing always annoyed me so much. Like, you couldn't have given the Boltons just like a pink cloak? So many people didn't know who Roose Bolton was in season 3. The man who kills Robb Stark, people didn't even know who he was. They were like, oh, is that a Frey? Like, you go back to old reviews, like Jeremy Jahns, like, reviewing The Red Wedding, like, 10 years ago, whatever, and he's like, oh, then some random guy comes up and stabs Robb, and it's like, this guy's been in 2 seasons, and you don't know who he is. Because there are so many characters, you need to do more to differentiate them. And you can do that. You can help differentiate them, not just with writing and with, obviously, different actors, blah, blah, but with costumes. And when Roose Bolton is just wearing the most generic, bland leather outfit like everyone else, he could just be some random dude, right? He could just be a Frey. That's why you needed to give him, like, a pink cloak to make him stand out. Or at least a red cloak. At least give him red, seeing as Umbra wasn't there, so there'd be no confusion. I don't know. The lack of colour is disappointing. Yeah, I just think it's... Compared to the book version, it sucks. Some people prefer it to the book version, actually. But I think it sucks compared to that. But also, ignoring that, how is it on its own as well? On its own, I guess, in a vacuum, it's a cool sigil. It is good. Like, it's not a bad sigil. Flayed Upside Down Man. I feel like it's, like, B tier. Like, I think it is better than average. But it's got that sour taste, you know, where it's just not... It's like, why would you change it this drastically? Because it's just not as good. And so it can't, yeah. So we have lots in B so far. We have 3 in C and 4 in B. So these sigils so far are either like average or they're above average, but very few are like, boom. Remember how many S tiers and A tiers I had in my previous streams? We'll have to see. Yeah, Callum said, even if you don't like pink, give him a bright red cloak. Exactly. You don't. If you're like pink isn't gonna work aesthetically, which I think you could make it work actually, but fine if you think it can't. Go red. Right, especially if you've cut out the Umbers, which they did in the early seasons, make Bolton the red house, right? The ones with, give them red cloaks, give them red, or maybe they thought people would get confused with the Lannisters, but, I don't know. But speaking of red, the Umbra. So as we know, the original Umbra sigil is a big brown giant in chains, tearing, breaking its chains and roaring furiously. There are different interpretations of it. So here's one. Here's another, slightly more low res. Here's a particularly weird one. Yeah, this looks more like this one looks more like a giant of myth on the left. The one on the right looks more like the giants that actually exist beyond the wall, the kind of giant ape-like beings. But they decided to completely get rid of the giant. Probably, maybe it was too... It made the sigil too, like I said, maximalist, and not as marketable, right? Like, you want people to replicate these, to remember them. Do you want like a big, complicated giant breaking chains? No, you want something nice and simple. A simple element... Excuse me. Excuse me. A simple element on a simple background, which they didn't do for Stark, ironically. But yeah, here we just have silver chains on red. Is it cool? Yeah, silver chains on red are cool. Like, genuinely, like, that's a really cool idea. But it just pales in comparison to a giant breaking its chains. Come on, you could have done that easily, but... Yeah, and, like, they are broken chains, so that's carried over at least. It looks like broken chains that all link together. Yeah, it's cool, and it looks cool on the outfit. The outfits of the Umbers, right? Great John and Small John had those chains like on their chest, I believe. I know. I'm trying to find excuses as to why it's not a big roaring giant breaking its chains, but I think it could have been. Yeah. Again, a lot of these sigils are from the first season, and maybe back then they weren't as confident. So they're like, we need things to be a lot more simple and palatable, and we can't take many risks visually, and so, maybe they didn't want to take any visual risks with regards to the Umbra sigil. It is cool, like I said. I quite like the silver chains on red. That's badass. I'm going to put it C tier, though, because it's disappointing compared to the book version, and looking at these ones, I'm going to, yeah. The Bolton one annoys me more, but I think it's a cooler looking sigil. Okay, next up we have House Karstark. I'm not entirely sure why I've added this. Because it's identical to the book version. The book version is a white sunburst on black, and this is literally a white sunburst on black. I think the version from the Wiki of Ice and Fire is cooler, but it's not written to be that way. It's just a white sunburst on black, and this is just... The show version is a weaker interpretation of what's on the Wiki, but I won't include it. But I will include this, because this is quite different. This is the sigil of House... Manderley. This is the Manderley sigil. So let me get the original one. The original one has more colours going on. This one has a white merman, or a silver merman, I guess. White or silver. But he's got a green beard, green hair, a green fishy body, and he's carrying a black trident. And it's on sea green. The show version is a silvery white merman on sea green, holding a trident, which is so far so good. But the trident's not black. The trident doesn't stand out. There's no green hair or green beard. The fish half is not green either. It's just, again, very minimalist. And actually, so in terms of where these sigils come from, just to clarify, because it's not necessarily like this sigil is in the background of a scene. Let me explain this one. So the Stark ones, we see them on the wall, in banners and merchandise and so on. Same with the Tully ones and the Umbra ones, and so on. The Manderley one, actually, comes from a pin. It comes from two places. It comes from... So, hold on. It comes from Season 3. I guess they didn't know whether they were doing the Manderley storyline, but they thought they'd seed it in early by having... So, Wendell Manderley, I believe? Is it Wendell or Willis? It's Wendell Manderley. They had just had a man in the background with a twirled up moustache, a quite portly gentleman, and he has the Manderley sigil on his chest, and he's later seen at the Red Wedding dead in the background. It's an Easter egg for fans. It sets up the North Remembers and the Manderley plot and the Northern Conspiracy, which they ended up abandoning, but they had it there just in case. And then when we see Wyman Manderley in Season 6 finale, where he gives a dramatic speech and then promptly disappears from the story, so I don't know why they even bothered, he's got the same shape on his chest. So it's the merman looking to the side, aiming and ready to throw a trident. I don't think it's as cool, unfortunately, as just like the merman facing forwards, holding the trident like fucking Jason Momoa's Aquaman. I don't like the merman looking away and aiming and ready to throw. Looks like a kind of Olympic symbol. Yeah, I think it's not super detailed, and I like the detailed merchant. I like the detailed merman of the books. It's fine, it's got the main elements of the book version, but it's not as cool as it could be. What am I thinking? Am I being too harsh? I'm gonna go B tier, I think. Also, can we just shout out to this Chungus? This guy, he did a good performance. He came in, he was old, he was red, he was fat, and he gave a good speech. He had a northern accent. Is all you needed. I was like, I loved it. But yeah, he disappeared. He must have been along with Lord Kerwin and Lord Glover. He just vanished from the show, which is quite unfortunate. Okay. Bloodraven says, "Yo boys, I'm leaving by." Holy shit, we have Bloodraven now? We've got Bittersteel and Bloodraven? This is getting out of hand. It's getting out of control. Next up we have House Kerwin. So this, I believe this is similar to the book one. Yeah, the book is just a black battle axe on white. Let me find the exact description from the books. Yeah, black battle axe on silver, sorry. And here we have, very similar, it's a battle axe. The whole thing is not black. The staff is black, and then the actual axe head is silver. I think that's C tier for me. That's wait, no, what did I put? What did I put the Kerwins? Did I put them C tier? I think this is the same as the book one. It's like, it's not exactly the same, but it does have the same effect. The Glover one though is quite interesting, because the book Glover sigil is a mailed gauntlet on red. And you may think, well, this is the same thing, but no, this doesn't look like a gauntlet. This looks like a glove. This looks like a silver glove on red. So the book version, gauntlet, and here of course is a dark red, right? It's color, it's muted, but it's a gloved fist, I'm pretty sure. So I think they just abandoned the gauntlet, either because maybe defining it as a gauntlet is too complicated for the minimalist style of the show. But also maybe they were just like, well, hey, we don't want to do a gauntlet, and it's House Glover, which implies they're descended from Glovers, so let's make it a glove. And I'm actually okay with that. I quite like the idea that there's a northern house called Glover, and they're proud of that, and they're like, yeah, it's a gloved hand. I actually think it's kind of cool. Is it as cool as a mailed gauntlet scrunched up into a Fist, it's not as cool as that. But I weirdly like it, even though it's really simple, and some people probably hate it. They're like, why is it just a gloved hand? I weirdly like it. I'm going to go B tier. That might be controversial. I'm going to go B tier for Glover. Honestly. Next up, we have House Hornwood. Hornwood is very different from the book. So here we have a black a bull moose's face and antlers. I know that looks more like a skull. I think that's meant to be like a moose's skull and antlers, whereas in the books it's like a full blown moose. It's a full blown moosey, and it's a brown moose on orange with black antlers. But here it looks like a moose skull and antlers black, and instead of being on orange, it's on a kind of it's on bronze. And for a northern house, I think I might actually prefer the concept of a moose's skull on bronze, as opposed to the whole moose and orange. I'm gonna go B tier for this one. Presumably, I'm completely contradicting myself, and like in old live streams, I'm saying that something I find worse or better is in a completely different place, and I could be like, this is better than the book version. A tier, but the book version's like in S tier, and I just can't remember. Anyway, I quite like that one. I think that's cool. Next up, now there are two Mormon sigils apparently. So I know that the Mormon standing up, the bear standing up on the right here, is the sigil that's in we can see in Bear Island when we meet Lyanna Mormont in season 6, and it's also on the shield that Jon Snow picks up to defend from Ramsay's arrows at the end of the Battle of the Bastards. The Mormon sigil on the left, I think, might be from from season 1, where they initially did show a bunch of lords and then they gradually cut a bunch of them out. So we'll have to judge them individually. So first off, let's get the show one up. The Mormon one. I accidentally typed in Mormonty. So this one is the original is a black bear in front of green forest. And that's pretty much what the original show version is. It's a black bear, green forest. By forest, it's only a couple of trees. Bear flanked by 2 trees. Kind of a light whitey green background. It's not very menacing. The bear rampant is way more aggressive and menacing, and this just kind of looks cute. This is just a bear like, This is like you're in the woods and you've like POV, you've stepped on a twig. And he's just like, what are you doing over there, boy? So it's kind of lame. I'm gonna put that in D tier. I still like the Northy vibes, but then this one, okay, what is it doing right? It's rampant, so I appreciate the fact that it's rampant, which means on its hind legs, right, with his arms up. Looks more aggressive. It's not in front of a forest, unfortunately, which does take away. And perhaps worst of all, it looks like a drowned raccoon come back to life to haunt its killers. That is terrifying. That's not a bear. It's the ugliest thing I've ever seen. It's got like red claws and red teeth and red eyes. It looks like a rabid squirrel. Yeah, that looks like a drowned rat. I'm actually gonna put that in E tier. That's horrifying. Down you go. Ugh. And then finally, for the north, we have House Mazin, which is a non-canon house. It's not a book house. It's a house exclusively from the show, where Jon Snow is going around the north looking for northern houses to side with him, and for some reason the entire north isn't rising up against the Boltons. It's just the Mormonts, the Hornwoods, and the Mazins for some reason. And the Mazins are a reference to Craig Mazin, or Craig, as Americans say. Apparently Americans say Craig as Craig, which is bizarre. But anyway, Craig Mazin, who was working at HBO, and he's the one who I think helped Benioff and Weiss with the pilot episode, right? The pilot episode flopped, and he was like, okay, hopefully your show I don't know if he was involved in helping the show get renewed. Oh, sorry, helping the pilot get recommissioned so that a full season could be commissioned, or whether he just gave advice. But apparently he was like, okay, this is why the initial pilot flopped. This is how to improve your next pilot, and with his advice, Game of Thrones Season 1 kicked off, and then the whole show kicked off. So House Mason is a loving reference to Craig Mazin as a kind of thank you very much for helping us. And this sigil is, I'm guessing coins, like a bunch of bronze coins on white and dark blue. What's the word? Where it's like a chessboard in the background. What is that? I can't remember, but it's like a blue and white chessboard. I get maybe the coins are meant to represent that he's a rich HBO guy. He also wrote HBO series Chernobyl, which is very good, and he went on to write the HBO series The Last of Us, which I haven't actually seen, but I heard it's good. I think people like it. He also wrote some of the scary movies in the early 2000s, which is weird. Checky, that's it. Thank you very much, Crossfire. Yes, blue and white Checky. So I appreciate that it is a reference to a friend who helped them out. That is cute. I don't know, it would have been cooler if some actual canon houses had like helped the Starks, not just a random reference to a friend of theirs. That also does kind of low-key feel like a piss take, but where am I putting it? I mean, it's like a bland sigil. This is like a D or E. I'm going to go D just because it's not unpleasant to look at and I like the history behind it, but it is kind of, it's a meh sigil. But we have finished with the North, which means, what do we have left? The Vale, the Crown Lands, the Westerlands, the Stormlands, the Iron Island lands, the Reachlands, and the Dawnlands. Where are we going next? Let me know in the chat. Spam it at me. Throw it at me. Vale, Crownlands, Westerlands, Stormlands, Iron Islands, Reach, Dawn. Let's go. What do people think? Let me check the chat. The bear has its hackles raised because it's about to attack, says Brugly. Thank you for coming to the live stream, Brugly. Is this your first live stream? If you're still here, that's cool. Yes, he does have his hackles raised. I get why the fur is spiky. I just don't like the design. I think it looks goofy. It looks like a rabid rodent more than a bear. But that's just me. And this is proving, I think, to be my most controversial tier ranking list, which I didn't expect. People seem to really be disagreeing with a lot of these, which is lots of fun. Everyone go and subscribe to Brugly if you haven't already. He's a YouTuber, but unlike me, he's actually quite successful and gets lots of views and makes some good content. The Vale, what are people saying? People are saying the Vale, Knights of the Vale, Vale Assemble, Crownlands, Vale, Vale, Crown, Westerlands, ooh, all over the place. I think Vale might be winning this. Yeah, we're gonna go Vale next. And when we whittle it down to 4, then we can do some fun polls in the chat. Brugly says, probably my 5th or 6th live stream, for real. I just jump in and don't talk. Yeah, that's chill. Every now and then, Brugly, you'll just comment on one of my community posts. And I'm like, oh, thanks. I remember the first time he did, I specifically got a notification from the YouTube Studio app because they were like, Brugly has commented. And I was like, looked around like, who the fuck's Brugly? And I checked it and I was like, oh, the Backrooms guy. Oh, yeah. Holy shit, he's got 1 million subs. Why is he watching me? But I appreciate it a lot. Very, when a bigger YouTuber takes time out to like watch your content or comment, it's a very nice feeling because it's like, yeah, it's very respectable. Because they don't have to. Bigger YouTubers, if they want, they can just ignore the little fish. But the ones that go out of their way to interact and so on, I have lots of respect for. So why did I drag all of these up? That's not what I want to do. God damn it. So first off, we have the Aaron sigil. So I feel like there may be hot takes abound because from what I understand, some people really like the show version as well as, people like the book version and the show version, so I don't know which one is going to be on top. So I need to get the book one, of course. So the book version is a blue falcon on a white moon on a blue field. So this is the wiki interpretation. The show version is different. The show version is a white falcon soaring through the air next to a white crescent moon within a white circle. Not a filled-in circle, but like a white circle border, and it's on a field of dark blue. So, so first off, which one do I prefer? This is difficult because I love the Arryns. I think I've said this so many times. They don't appear much in the history or the story, but I love their colour scheme, silver and blue. I love that. I love the Eyrie. Even though I'm scared of heights, I love the idea of this really high up white marble castle high above the clouds and the snow-capped mountains. I think it's such a cool visual imagery. I love the idea of the moon door as a way to execute people, and the sky cells. So I really do like the Arryns. I think, which one do I prefer? They're both cool. White Falcon, Crescent Moon, Dark Blue does look really nice. Soaring through. I don't know. I think they're different sigils doing different things, and I feel like, am I being a pussy by saying that? By saying they're equal? Oh, I don't know. I think I prefer the book version. I do prefer the book version. But the book version for me is like S tier, right? A or S tier. The show version is very good though. I do have to admit. I like the colours. I like the symbolism of it, you know? It's a very nice silhouette. Soaring through the air, the crescent moon, the dark blue. If you're taking the Arryn sigil and you're making it, and you're adjusting it for a visual audience, for a visual medium, sorry, I think it goes well. I'm going to go A tier for this. I don't think it's as good as the show version, the book version, but I do like it, and other people seem to like it. And the big YouTuber likes it, and I don't want him to beat me up. So I'm going to give in to peer pressure and say A. It is nice. It does look very nice. Yeah, Cole Carsnark saying Midnight Blue seems more appropriate for a moon sigil. Yes. Yeah, I will say, I don't like the bright blue of the wiki version, but I don't think the Arryn blue in the books is like described as being a certain kind of blue. Oh, it's sky blue, isn't it? It's meant to be sky blue. Oh, do I prefer sky blue or midnight blue? I think I do prefer midnight blue. But I also prefer the falcon with its wings stretched out, facing forwards, compared to flying toward. Oh, I don't know. Okay, it doesn't matter. It's A tier. Regardless, it is A tier. Okay, so next up we have the runestone sigil. So we see this sigil on the not the surcoat, but just like, I think just, is it the cloak or just some flappy things coming off of Bronze Jon in the show? Jon's Royce has this symbol on his cloak, so that's been taken and basically put on a white field, where he has a square on his cloak, and the square has the squared border of various runes, and then within it's bronze with all the black pellets. So it's an interesting take on the rune, the Royce sigil. And for those who haven't seen it, check out my animated history of House Royce on my channel. I quite enjoyed making that one. And I'd promised to make it for ages for my patrons, and I finally was like, damn it, I need to finish this. There we go. Which one do I prefer? I will say, I do quite like the addition of white, surprisingly. I think it's, yeah. I do think it's quite cool. See, again, yeah. Bronze square. I think the whole, the sort of a big square thing in a shield is kind of weird and off-putting. But the fact it is Royce kind of makes me forgive it in a way, because it is meant to be, it's old. You know, it feels ancient. It's ancient first man runic shit. So it's allowed to be kind of different. I think I do prefer the runes bordering the entire sigil. I think I do prefer the book version, but I weirdly quite like the show version, just turning it into a square and putting it on a white field. The colours go well together, and it gives off this old-fashioned vibe. I don't think it's as good as the book version. I'm going to go... I think that's a good sigil. I'm going to go B. I'm going to go B for that one. People saying S tier. There are lots of black dots in that one. Freemason type shit, someone says. What are the dots for? I don't know what the black dots are meant to represent for House Royce. Obviously, we know the runes is all about their runic armor and their first man heritage. I don't know about the dots or pellets or whatever. But moving on, we have House Waynwood. Now, I put Waynwood in D, I believe, and that was quite controversial. People like the Waynwood sigil. They like the broken black wheel on green. Speaking of, why did I add this? I said I wasn't going to add the ones that are too similar to the book versions. This is just a broken black wagon wheel on green. So, yeah. And then the Corbray, this is 3 ravens holding red heart. That's essentially the Corbray one from the books. This one is different, however. This is the sigil of Peter Baelish. So, as we know in the books, Littlefinger's, well, the sigil of House Baelish is the Titan, the Titan of Braavos screaming with on a green background, kind of a grey-green background. And Littlefinger doesn't like that because it's too, you can imagine why, it's too bold, it's too garish, it's all about power and might, but it feels power and might in a kind of an overt militaristic way, whereas he's more subtle and underhanded, and he's all about schemes and plots, and schemes and plots are the same thing, and so on. So Littlefinger, his personal coat of arms, and the one he adopts when House Baelish of Harrenhal is created, is a bunch of black mockingbirds on green, on that grey-green. Now, the show version, I think they completely get rid of the Titan's head on green. They make it so that the Baelish sigil is just the mockingbird. Now, it could easily just be his personal sigil, and we never see the Titan's head in the show, or whether this is meant to be the Baelish sigil. But either way, this is the only one we see in the show. And instead of being a black mockingbird on on grey-green, it's a black mockingbird on gold, interestingly. So let's think about why. So in the books, I think the grey-green background is taken from Littlefinger's, his father's sigil, the whole Titan's head. He wants that in the background as some continuation. But also, I think maybe, because Littlefinger's described as having laughing grey-green eyes, kind of like a cat. So I think George, it was subconscious or conscious, but he thought it would be cool to have the background be the same colour as Littlefinger's eyes. I don't know. I think that connection is kind of cool. And the show, I guess the gold background is probably there to represent wealth. And perhaps his avarice, his greed. He's the master of coin, and he's super ambitious, and he wants more and more, so maybe that was and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with both. I think they're both good. They're both fine. In fact, I think the Baelish one is a bunch of mockingbirds a bunch of black mockingbirds on grey-green, whereas this is one single one. I prefer the single. And I do really like black on gold, great colour combo, as we know from the Baratheons, right? I think that fits Littlefinger very well. It's bright, it's colourful. He likes colourful, garish clothing kind of on purpose. Oh, is this better than the book version? I need to get the book version up, because I keep messily talking about it without actually just showing it, so let me get it up. Where are we? There we go. Yeah. Oh, it's silver mockingbirds on green, not black mockingbirds. My bad. So, personally, I prefer the single mockingbird, but silver and green, I think, fits Littlefinger's vibe more than black and gold. Like, I get it, the gold, ostentatious, wealth, etc. But silver and green, for me, that I know, I think of the silver in his hair, the silver threads at his temples, and the grey-green eyes. I'm gonna say the book version is better, but only by a tiny bit, because I also really like this. In fact, I might go A tier for this. Is that crazy? I really like that one. I don't even remember seeing it that much in the show. Carl says, I like it, but it doesn't scream Littlefinger to me. Yeah, I think if it fit the character more, it would be S tier, just because I actually really like that. But I just A for now. Maybe I'm being too generous. Maybe I feel like I've been too harsh on the others and too generous for others, but okay, the Veil's done because there aren't that many Veil show sigils, and the ones that exist, most of them look just like the book version. So where are we going next? What do we have next? We have the Crownlands. We have the Westerlands. We have the Stormlands. We have the Iron Islands, the Reach, and then we have Dawn at the bottom, which is just looking at House Dane, the different Dane variations. So let me know, what do we want? Let me know. Boom, straight in there with Crownlands. Bring Corbray back, please. But the Corbray one is it's basically the same. Let me just double check. With three black ravens, each holding a red love heart on white, and that's what the Game of Thrones one is. Yeah, it's different from the interpretation on the wiki, but it's taken from the description's the same. Crownlands. I'm not doing a poll yet because polls only allow four options, so when we're down to 4. Crownlands. Yes, let's do Crownlands then. It looks like the Crownlands have won. Where are we going? Here we go. So first off, Targaryen. Now you might be thinking, okay, hold up. This is just the book Targaryen sigil, right? It's a 3-headed red dragon on black. That's exactly the same as the books. But it's not. Who can tell me in the chat why this is different? What about the show Targaryen sigil is different? What's going on here? 8 max. 8 max. Are you saying 8? Oh, B max. I thought someone said 8 max, as in like the poll option goes up to 8. I know that's not true. What's going on here, everyone? Is the tongue different? Nope, the tongue's not different. Actually, no, the tongues are white. Yeah, the tongues aren't red, they're white. That is a difference. Number of legs, that's right. And they're not breathing fire either. Yeah, that is also something. But you're right. A bunch of people came in saying, no fire, white tongue, good. But also, 4 legs, right? Blink and you'll miss it. 4 legs. Which is weird because actually... So, obviously... In the books, the Targaryen sigil has 2 legs because dragons have 2 legs. Because George was like, well, if dragons were to exist, it makes sense that they would be 2-legged. 2 legs. The whole 4-legged dragon in mythology doesn't make much sense anatomically. For whatever reason, I don't really know why. I'm not into that kind of thing. But, yeah, and that's why... Excuse me. Sorry. That's why he designed them that way. But in the show, there are 2 kind of Targaryen banners. There are... Every now and then you'll see a Targ banner with 4 legs, but then you'll also see a Targ banner with 2 legs, and so throughout the whole show, there are like different leg amounts popping in every now and then, and it's very, I think it's just a mistake with the visual design, or production design, or the artist, whatever, like, maybe some were given the wrong memo, and so we just, throughout the whole season, even in like CGI and whether it's CGI or practical, the legs were just completely different episode to episode. So, the Targ sigil, I put S. I'm going to have to drop this to A. I think the white tongues and white eyes are really cool. The black isn't black enough. It's like a grey. And the 4 legs is kind of silly. When that's not what dragons look like in universe. They're like if it was a mythological thing, fine, but they literally exist. So I'm going to pop that down to A tier. Next up... What is this? This is the banner of Aegon Targaryen, Aegon II. Hold on, is there another one I can get up on top of this? There we go. This is very small. Can I get a larger version? That's not very high quality, is it? Oh well, I'll get it up anyway. So, plane going overhead as always. Guantanamo Bay, etc, etc. Cool, so, essentially, in the first season of House of the Dragon, it is said, in episode 10, when Otto comes to negotiate on Dragonstone, it's said that a ship is sailing towards Dragonstone with a banner that's displaying a green dragon, a green Targaryen dragon. But then in the trailer for season 2 of House of the Dragon, not the trailer, the teaser, the little teaser we got, it looks like it's a golden dragon on dark green. So my guess is this was their original idea for the Team Green sigil, or maybe this is meant to be like Otto Hightower's personal. That doesn't really make sense. But there was backlash against this. People were like, a green dragon is kind of dumb. People really wanted the whole... People were complaining like, where's the gold with the Sunfire Rager? He's barely in the show, and now you've got rid of the... So they've changed it. This is now the sigil of Aegon II. And it's almost identical to the book version. The only difference is the background. So they're both keeping the three-headed golden dragon as a reference to Aegon's beautiful golden dragon Sunfire. I like that. I'm glad they're keeping it. That's really cool. The backgrounds. So, see, on one hand, the golden dragon on black looks better than golden dragon on dark green. And I do like that it's dark green, right? If it was bright green, that would look awful. If it was Hightower green, no. But I do like that it's dark green. I think golden dragon on dark green looks good. It might not even look great on this, this Microsoft Paint job, right? But in the teaser, it looked good. Hold on, let me restart. I'm getting ahead of myself. So the golden dragon on black looks really cool. It looks better than a golden dragon on green. But thematically, I really like the idea that Aegon is embracing that Hightower heritage. He has Hightower support, his mother's a Hightower, and he's putting the green of House Hightower behind the dragon. The green of the flames on the sigil of House Hightower that glows during wartime. So the idea is, at least in the show, I think it is mentioned in the books as well, I can't remember. But when House Hightower is at war, the fire on the Hightower is replaced with presumably wildfire, right? So it goes green. So he's getting that green wartime Hightower feeling, that vibe, and he's putting his gold dragon on it. So book version looks better, show version more thematic, and I like the politics of it. Merging, he's making it personal, but by throwing his dragon in it, but he's also linking it to his family. I think the book version is better. The book version does look better, so I'm going to say that's better. But the show version is also, I like the link. I'm going to go A tier for the show version. A tier. I think it's cool, and I can't wait to see more of it. In fact, let's see if there are any screenshots I can very quickly grab from the teaser. I did a season 2 House of the Dragon teaser breakdown on my on YouTube, which no one watched, which just goes to show people are more interested in my animated content, which is fine. Here we go. So here's a shot from the teaser of Aegon looking moody. And obviously that's, this is his own personal little outfit. So we do see banners in the background that have the gold dragon on green. But here we can see he's got 2 rampant gold dragons on that green, which looks pretty cool. Are there any in the background? Yeah, in some of the battle scenes they're in the background. But anyway. Moving on, we have House Velaryon. So this is a cool one as well. I think I've already spoiled my opinion about this in the first live stream where I talk about the Velaryon sigil. Where in the books it is a literal seahorse, a silver seahorse on turquoise, I guess. And in the show version, they maybe in House of the Dragon, because the Velaryons are in the Game of Thrones book, but they didn't appear in the Game of Thrones TV show. In the book, the Velaryons declare for Stannis. Lord of Montfort Velaryon rallies behind Stannis, but he ends up blowing up during the Battle of the Blackwater, and then his son Monterys is basically a baby, and so it's now a regency, I guess. Driftmark is ruled under a regency, but in the show, they're not in Game of Thrones, and so they got to design the sigil for the first time for House of the Dragon. They abandoned the literal seahorse and they made it more mythological. The top half is a literal horse, and then the bottom half is a fish, so it's like a mermaid horse. Some people really didn't like this. when this was being leaked, people were saying, this is really stupid, this is really, insulting, how dare you simplify it and make it a literal seahorse, do you not read the books? But no, it's obviously intentional, it goes hard. I think it looks amazing. The mythological aspect, I think, fits way more with the medieval vibe. Just having a seahorse is like, yeah, it's fine, but not super badass, not super intimidating. But this is wonderful. Silver on sea green. A literal seahorse. This might, honestly, screw it, I'm going to go A tier. I think this is awesome. But maybe that's controversial. It's perfectly fine if you think the book Seahorse is just 10 times better. And that the mythological version is dumbing it down for audiences where it doesn't need to, I guess. Or, I don't know. What do people think? Oh, Jesus. Thank you for the super chat from Jasper Lane. This is unexpected. Thank you for the $100. Gonna have to skedaddle soon, says Jasper, but I enjoyed the stream. Stay safe, and I hope you have a good night. Thank you very much, Jasper. I hope the same for you. With that said, crazy idea. Since I think this is the last sigil tier list. It is, I think. How about next time you rank a Song of Ice and Fire YouTuber icons? Glidus and Alt are a solid S. That's a very fun idea, actually. That is a very fun idea. Thank you so much, Jasper, for the super chat. You're wonderful. You're amazing. That would be really fun. I've often thought about, as an April Fool's video, I have like hundreds of April Fool's ideas. I thought a fun one could be like ranking a Song of Ice and Fire YouTubers, and either just shitposting or being serious, but no one knows if I'm being serious, right? Of course, that could lead to like genuine beef and drama, and I probably shouldn't do it. It would be successful, but I shouldn't do it. But it could be fun if I did like a Song of Ice and Fire YouTuber tier list, and it's like, oh shit, and then you click on it, and I'm literally just ranking the symbols. Yeah, Glidus has a cool symbol. Alt Shift X, classic. The cheeky X. David Lightbringer has some pretty cool mystic aesthetics to his channel. Who else? There are lots of great YouTubers out there. Quinn the GM has a nice little purple thing. What is Quinn's? I can't remember. You think I'd know this? Oh yes, he's got the whole the Quinn the GM in kind of a burnt orange in purple. That could be fun. That could be a really fun troll, actually, ranking a Song of Ice and Fire YouTubers, but I'm just talking about the sigils, and I'm like, see, the X of Alt Shift X is very nice, but is the blue the right kind of blue? That could be fun. The S tier is obviously Fantasy Haven. Look at that beautiful shaded character on gold. That's wonderful. Preston Jacobs B tier. That's so specific. Why is it B tier for Preston? His profile picture is just Sweet Robin. But yeah, that $100 super chat reminds me to definitely get Streamlabs, because it's not fair on me or the people sending in money that YouTube takes such a big chunk of it. I was going to say, God damn it, Susan, but no, Susan's not the CEO anymore. It's someone else whose name I can't remember. Seahorse in the heraldic sense refers to a fish-horse hybrid, which is why many fans have designed it as that. However, Germ has stated the intended... Yeah, Germ has specifically been like, it's the animal seahorse. But I think the show version is so much better. Interesting Nerd Club. They've got a cool sigil. There are so many... Yeah, there are so many A Song of Ice and Fire YouTubers. They're like different tiers of a Song of Ice and Fire YouTuber in terms of how old they are, how successful they are, what kind of vibe they are. Like, you've got like the new wave. You've got like the old school, which is like Preston Jacobs, and then you have the kind of Preston Jacobs at Alt Shift X, right? Then you have like the kind of the late Game of Thrones wave, the people who got big off of Game of Thrones collapsing, like Glidus, and then you have this kind of post House of the Dragon wave, like Interesting Nerd Club, Quinn the GM, Company of the Cat, etc., Hills Alive, and Fantasy Haven. And without bragging, I think Quinn and I are kind of leading the charge on those channels. Thank you for the super chat from Pink Slash, who says nothing, and that's fine. If you don't want to say anything, that's fine, but if you meant to put a message, then just put it in the chat for free and I'll read it out. I'll keep an eye on it. But next up, we're going to look at dun 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 dun. We have House Celtigar or Celtigar. What do you say? Let me know in the chat. Do you pronounce it Celtigar or Celtigar? I say Celtigar, but I also say Celt and Celtic as opposed to Celt and Celtic. Brugly says, I'm not on a Song Advice Fire YouTuber, but I'm gonna make a sigil anyway one of these days. Oh, you just reminded me. I said that I was going to rank Robocart's YouTuber sigils. I need to do that. Yes, there were some niche sigils I was planning on ranking. I could either do like a tier list part 6 where I go through those specific ones, or I might as well do it now, right? I should do it for this stream. In that case, I need to hurry up, because I haven't had dinner yet, and my fish au chocolat is waiting. So House Celtigar, it's 5 red crabs on white bordered by red. The book version is just a whole field of red crabs on white without the border. It's basically the same thing. I think I might prefer the red border of the crabs, maybe. I put the book one in S tier as a meme. The show one I'm gonna go C tier. I think that's okay. Darklyn, I don't know why Darklyn is here. That looks identical to the book version, and it is this is the Darklyn sigil I think we see in the House of the Dragon season 2 teaser. Hey, we're Stokeworth. So yeah, the Stokeworth sigil, very similar to the book version. It's a white lamb holding a goblet on green. The only difference is that the lamb in the show is sitting down as opposed to standing up. Maybe he's chilling more, right? He doesn't need to stand. Maybe he's a bit drunk, he's a bit tipsy. He needs to rest his weary hoofs. I think it's quite cute. I'm gonna go B tier. I'm going for that. I like that. House Staunton. So House Staunton, again, we know this sigil from behind the scenes leaked photos actually of House of the Dragon season 2 of various Crownlander houses, and one of them is House Staunton, and this does look quite different. The Staunton sigil in the books, we have the black and grey checky background to kind of represent a chessboard, and then black wings to represent a rook. Rook being a chess piece. Staunton is named after a chess player or a chess champion or something. So the show version is running with the chess theme, even better in a way, by having the checky background being black and white, but it only covers half the sigil. The bottom half is pure white and is displaying a winged crown, I believe. Yeah, that looks like a winged crown. Or is it 2 birds within a crown? I don't know. But I think it does a better job. Okay, so actually I prefer the show version. Yeah, I prefer the show version. I think in the book one, the white band just like cutting through with the wings, I'm not a fan of. But this has the black and white of the chessboard, and it's giving focus on the bottom half to the wings. But the wings are coming out of a crown, which I think is... Maybe that's representing a different chess piece. Maybe that's meant to be like the king or the queen. Does it quite make sense for House Staunton? No, because they weren't kings. So, but I think it's better than the book version. I'm going to go B for that one. And then finally, House Rosby. Now, this isn't super interesting. The book one, I won't get the book one up. The book one is identical, 3 white chevronels on white. Sorry, 3 red chevronels on white. But the difference is that it's an ermine field, so it's all of these little symbols, the black symbols you see, all over the field. Here it's just 4 in a kind of diamond pattern. That's fine, C tier. Same reasons I gave the other one C tier. It's a simple, more realistic looking medieval sigil, and that looks fine. Next up we haven't had any F tier yet. Nothing has offended me so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One too many for a poll, but let's get deciding. Are we going to do the Westerlands, the Stormlands, the Iron Island lands, the Reachlands, or the Dawnlands? Let me know. Where are we going next? Where are we going? Are you ever going to play Telltale's Game of Thrones? Yes. I keep saying I want to do the role-playing video game from 2010. I want to do the Telltale Game of Thrones. I want to maybe live stream some fun Song of Ice and Fire tabletop RPG sessions with Quinn the GM and maybe some other YouTubers. Could be fun, right? Glidus or Shift X, that could be really fun. Everyone's very busy, so including me, so I don't know when any of that stuff would happen, but I'd love to do it. Real quick, does Fantasy Haven have a Discord? I do, but it's a patron-only Discord where we chat and we meme and we banter, and you get access to teasers and you get to be in a voice chat with me. And you know, I need to do voice chatting more frequently, but when I do it, we do games and discussions about lore and all that stuff. I don't want a big Discord just yet. Maybe in the future there'll be a channel Discord, but I need to find mods and all that stuff. And yeah, it's easier to just run a Patreon Discord currently, but I might change my mind. So what are people saying? People are saying Storm Chad, Stormlands, Dawn, Reach, Westerlands, Stormlands. There are a bunch of Dornish sigils in the Tyrion scene. Yeah, and they are on the Game of Thrones wiki, but they're too similar to the book versions to really care about. Like, it's, you know, House Manwoody is, you know, a skull and a crown, and it's like, yeah, it's just an interpretation of that. It's not different enough. Actually, I should do... Okay, I'm going to do Dawn next, because it's one sigil, and it'll be kind of dumb to do a vote, because who's going to vote for, like... Yeah, let's get the Dane one out of the way, then we'll vote for the ones that have more sigils. So, this is but one of the Danes. Let me explain myself. So, I'll actually remove that for now. So, here, Season 4, Episode 1, I believe, Joffrey is looking at Knights of the Kingsguard, and he's mocking Jaime, being like, you've done nothing, lol, and you have one hand plus L plus ratio. Joffrey points out to Arthur Dayne, he's like, oh look, Arthur Dayne, awesome. And there's a sigil painted in the corner, and that sigil has been replicated here. And what is it? It's Dawn. It's the milk glass Dawn and a meteor going... in this version, it's going over the sword, but obviously in here it's going behind. And that's very similar to the book Dornish, Danish. I've been saying Dawn this whole time, haven't I? Danish. Why did I say Danish? Yeah, the sword and shooting star is basically the same. However, for some strange reason, in Season 8, when Brienne is going through the White Book, we see the Arthur Dayne page again, but this time the sigil's different, and I don't know why, because it's meant to be the same book. Like, the writing is different, the sigil is different, everything is different. And the sigil suddenly has changed. It's no longer shooting star and sword on purple. It's blue. It's like a silver sword, which isn't even what Dane looks like. Dawn, oh my god. Dawn, Dane, and Dawn the sword. Dawn the place, Dawn the swords, Dane the house. God damn it. It doesn't look like Dawn the sword because it's grey, or it's silver. I'm guessing this is meant to represent the shooting star, like, flying down. And then it's on blue for some reason. So because this is the most recent one, and it's different, I'll rank this one. What does this actually say? Led the Kingsguard to victory and destroy the Brotherhood by killing the Smiling Knight in single combat. Wait, killed at the conclusion of Robert Barra's rebellion. Do they really need to shorten that? Do they need to shorten Robert Barra's? You couldn't have just added... You couldn't have added in Theon and pushed rebellion underneath? That's kind of weird. Presumably by Lord Eddard Stark of Winterfell. See, it literally says here, named Sword of the Morning and Wielder of the Great White Blade. Presumably not this Great White Blade, right? not this chunky silver abomination. I think this is so much worse than the old Dane one that they had, so I don't know what happened there. The shooting star looks like shit. The sword isn't even the right colour. The blue background is pleasant, but it's not quite purple. So I'm going to go D tier because it looks okay in a vacuum, but it's like, why would you change it to something worse? It's just, god damn it. Why would you rewrite the page? Do you not have the prop? Or if you do have the prop, if you don't have the prop, look up the episode where that appears and just like copy it. I'm just confused. People are saying F. It doesn't look. It's not like a bad sigil. It does look shit, but it's taken from, not from like merchandise. It's taken from a corner of a page, so it's not the most flattering interpretation. F minus, D tier. Oh, E tier. I'll put it in E tier. Okay, I'm not going F. It's not insulting, but I'll go E tier. Yeah, it's not a shield for the Game of Thrones wiki and the A Song of Ice and Fire wiki. The sigils that they show that they've made are always, they're shields for the rest of Westeros, but for Dorne they're circles. I don't know if that's like a canon fact that I've missed, where like culturally the Dornish portray their sigils as a circle as opposed to being in a shield. I don't know, but I quite like the difference. Anyway, now we can vote. Westerlands, Stormlands, Iron Islands, and the Reach. The poll is going in the chat. And Pink / did you comment your question, or did you not want to ask a question? Westerlands, Stormlands. Iron Islands lands and Reachlands. Okay, there we go. What do we think? What do we think? Well, people are revolting against me. Against me. I'm not saying they're revolting. I'm saying they're rebelling against me. F tiers everywhere. It's not insulting. I've told you, F tier is insulting. F tier is like House Errol's stack of hay. It's like, why are you doing this? It's because Dornish shields are described as round, says Crossfire. That makes sense. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, I hope I haven't missed what the any message that Pink / wanted to say. I will keep an eye out. So where are we going? Oh, the Stormlands are in the lead, 35%. In second place, we have the Iron Island lands in 24%. Very close third, we have the Westerlands at 22%, and then the Reach lands at 18%. 49 votes are in, 50 votes are in. I'll give it another minute. Stormlands are in the lead, but it's all to play for. This could change. I feel like a sports commentator. This could change at any minute. And while the people listening, not live, they're no doubt thrilled with this, while you're waiting, I will quickly, while we're waiting for the poll, I'll run through the sigils we have. So in the Westerlands, we have Lannister, Clegane, and Lefford. In the Stormlands, we have Dondarrion, Swan, Tarth, Selmy, and Bronn. In the Iron Islands, we have Redacted, and in the Reach, we have Tyrell, Florent, and Hightower from House of the Dragon. 60 votes are in. The Stormlands are still in the lead by 10%. I'm going to end poll. It's been 2 minutes. The poll is ended now. We are going to the Stormlands next. So, starting off with House Dondarrion. The best name in all of literature. So, very similar, but in the book, the sigil is, in the books, as George would say, we have a black background, and on top of that we have a purple lightning bolt that's splitting into two as per the Dondarrion kind of founding story, right? Like the origin story of the two thunder bolts striking the men who are trying to kill a Dondarrion messenger who went on to deliver the message and then became a landed lord or something. And there are white stars. The show version is different. I imagine we see this in the background of Attorney or something. But it's a purple lightning bolt split into two, black background, but the stars are purple instead of white. To simplify it. What do I prefer? They're both fine. They're both like equal in terms of quality. I think I do prefer the white stars. It gives it more... No, it's not equal in quality. I think the book one is better. The white stars do make it more interesting. But I do like this version too. This is fine. This almost looks a bit sci-fi, doesn't it? The show version. Like, you can imagine this being like a sigil in a sci-fi show. Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit... Yeah. Oh, it looks like a Christmas tree. I think people saying that in the chat. You're right. It looks like a purple Christmas tree. Oh yeah, no. Oh, that's a complete failure of design. Actually, that doesn't look like. See, if we go back, how many times do we have to go back? Because I've been fiddling with it. Yeah, that clearly is lightning, but in this one, the lightning splits off at the very top, so it looks like a purple Christmas tree with a bunch of purple stars around it, and the black isn't as black as it should be. You're right. That's actually failed in its job. So D tier. God damn it. Thank you for the super chat from my man LJ, big fan, one of my patrons, who says, if I just left some money on the table, I'm sure the Dane sigil might fall a bit. Oh, I think you sent that. You sent that with the intention of bribing me. Well, I'm not going to pick the money up. I'm going to leave it on the table. I'm going to leave it on the table. Of course, it's not actually on the table. That's metaphorical. It's going through YouTube, through the ad revenue system, and some of it will end up in my bank at the end of the month, or next month rather. So therefore, I'm not picking anything up off the table. I'm just letting the electronic process take its course. And if I do decide to put Dane down here, it's not related to the super chat. You know, that's beyond my control. You chose to do that. I don't have a choice. I don't have a say in it. But alright. I've buried it now, haven't I? The joke's dead. The whole bribery joke is dead. I keep overcooking it. One and done. I gotta move on. I'm too rambly. But all jokes aside, LJ, thank you so much for the super chat. You are amazing. Thank you so much. House 1. So here it's split into half. The top half is white, the bottom half is black. On the white we have a black swan just chilling. On the bottom we have a white swan chilling. Now all I have to do is show the book version of House 1. Yeah, two swans facing each other. There's beef. They're angry. These are just two swans chilling. They're lackadaisical. The white isn't very white. The black is kind of grey. It's like all the whites are creams and all the blacks are grey for the show. I am not a fan. It's a couple of swans. Nowhere near as cool as the book version. It's still okay. Like, it's still like some swans on a sigil. But I'm going to go like D tier. It's like, just not as good. Just not as good. Did you know that it is illegal to kill swans in the United Kingdom? Technically, it's not just illegal. It's, well, I guess you could say. I don't just mean like murdering one. I mean like hunting it or eating it. It's treason to kill a swan in the UK. Because all swans legally are owned by the monarch. So King Charles owns every swan in the UK, and if you kill a swan, then you're killing one of his swans, and that's treason. So technically punishable by death if you kill a swan. Obviously, not actually, right? Like, no one's actually been executed for killing a swan in the last, presumably, couple of 100 years, but who knows? Maybe we should bring that back. And Brugli had to dip. Talk to you later. He's probably already gone, but great seeing you here, Brugli. You're great. Brugli, rather. It's always weird when a bigger YouTuber comments. I'm like, yo, that's cool. Next up, we have House Tarth. Very similar to the show version, the book version. Oh, how many times? I think this entire stream I've just been missaying that. Anyway, so yeah, very similar. Crescent moon on blue, white crescent moon on blue, the yellow sun on a kind of reddish pink. But the difference, and it's quartered. The difference is the show version. There's a yellow sunburst just in the middle, connecting it all. So let me get the book one as a comparison and see if I like. Yeah, again, a weirdly low res version there, but do I like the sunburst in the middle and the quartered symbols being pushed further into the corner? I think I do. I actually like the book version more. I think that's cool. I'm gonna go B tier for the show. Oh my god, the show version. I prefer the show version. If I were to listen back to this live stream, I bet it's me just saying book and show the wrong way, like every single time. If you're just listening to this, you must have no clue what's going on. Okay, next up, House Selmy. Now, you know that last time I put Selmy where they belonged, which was F tier. Oh. Because it was, wheat on brown, which is just the... God damn it. Now, this is trying to do better. This is a kind of blackish brown. And the wheat is more kind of like a goldy bronze as opposed to yellow and brown. So it looks cooler. The colour scheme is cooler. The content is shitter. But because the colour's better, I'm going to put it up to E. I respect them for trying. Now, this is a confusing one for me. This is apparently bronze sigil after he's knighted, and I couldn't find any examples of this actually being in the show, so I don't know where it's from. Of course, in the book, it's the burning green chain on black, right, to represent Tyrion's wildfire attack. Oh, maybe it's not on black. Maybe it's on. Actually, no. I don't think the color is ever mentioned. I think it's just. The background color maybe isn't mentioned, but it's just the flaming green chain. I know the background is meant to be black, isn't it? But anyway, the flaming green chain is badass. A generic flaming arrow is really lame, so E tier, but I also don't know where that appears in the show. But I tried to look, but I thought I'd include it in case someone in the chat could tell me. Oh shit, we've run out. Where are we going next? Shall I consult the poll and see who came second? Or should I do another poll? I'll do another poll, but this one will be quicker. Nice and quick. The Westerlands, the Iron Islands, and the Reach. Westerlands. And the Reachlands. The poll has begun. Jump into the chat to vote. Where are we going next? Where are we dropping next, boys? Yeah. What lands are we going to next? The Iron Islands lands are winning against the Westerlands and the Reachlands, but quite considerably. God damn it, the plane. God damn it. Shout out to that one live stream. I think it was my tier sigil ranking 2. Right? Was it 2 or 3? Where a helicopter full on just like arrived near my house and just like started hovering in the air. It turns out they were saving someone from drowning, but they were out. I was so paranoid. I was like, shit, they're after me, the feds. Yeah, Iron Island Lands is winning. 45 votes, 38%. I'll leave it a little bit longer to see if anything adjusts, but looks like the people have decided. Ending the poll. I'm ending the poll. There's only 2 here, so let's look at them. So you're probably thinking, hold on, that's a Greyjoy one. No. The 2 Iron Island sigils, these are both Euron sigils. These are variations of Euron sigils that we see. Though, because the Greyjoy sigil in the show is like identical to the book Greyjoy sigil. It's the golden kraken on black. The black being, as usual, not as stark, not as dark black as the wiki version. It's just more kind of a dark grey, but the Euron version is the Greyjoy Kraken, but there's a red eye in the Kraken's forehead. But apparently there's another Euron sigil, which has also cropped up, which is very similar. Kraken on black, red eye, but the Kraken is not gold, it's silver. So, first off, Euron's book sigil, some people like it, some people think it's overwrought. I like it. A golden Kraken with the red eye, very cool idea. The Greyjoy sigil is like an S. The red eye being in it, I'm going to go A tier, because that is cool. But I'm only going A tier because I really like this. The silver Kraken on black with the red eye is actually really cool. Like that's way better than the gold on black. It kind of makes me think that the Greyjoy, maybe the Greyjoy sigil should just be a silver Kraken on black. Like I feel like that feels way more Greyjoy, considering they're all about we pay the iron price, we don't pay the gold price. I feel like a silver Kraken makes more sense than a gold Kraken. Gold feels way too ostentatious and grandiloquent for House Greyjoy. I don't know. Yeah, Carl says grey pops better. It does. It is more memorable, more marketable. It does pop more. But for a personal sigil for Euron, I like this. But I imagine loads of you are mad at me because you prefer the book version, right? The book. Let me get the book Euron sigil. Hope you don't mind all the clicking and the typing. Just some nice Haven ASMR in the background for you. Where are we? Oh, what's a good interpretation? This is the wiki one, just for consistency. This is the book version from the wiki. It's two crows holding a black iron crown over a red eye on storm blue. So yeah, it's cool. I think I gave this a high tier in my sigil ranking, but something about that silver Kraken. I don't know, what do people think? But nonetheless, we have made it to the final two. So while people are letting me know about the Greyjoys, I shall throw the poll out. The Westerlands or the Reacherlands? Where are we going next? 3 versus 3. We're wrapping up. Although, yeah, while you're voting, I do need to find some things because I actually have a few more ideas. I promised, there were a few that I promised to do. Oh, I'm not why aren't I logged in? What the hell? Are you kidding me? Hold on. Okay, yeah. So essentially, someone contacted me on Twitter or X and said, "Yo, what's up? I made some cool sigils, and so I want to show them off and do a rapid fire ranking for them because I promised that I'd do that. And I also want to look at Robocard sigils. He did sigils of A Song of Ice and Fire YouTubers, so I want to look at that. There it is. I have to deal with some stuff. Where are we? Yep, there we go. Ah, perfect. There we go. Cool. But let me just quickly check. What's the poll at? 52% say Westerlands with nearly 50 votes in. 50 votes in, 52 to 48. Oh, 52-48. That's some election shit. Oh, I'm gonna leave it. That could change. I might give that another minute while I hunt. Ah, there we go. There they are. I'll be bringing these up later. In fact, I think you guys can vote on these ones. Where are we? How are we doing? Oh, the gap is widening. Looks like people want the Westerlands. Okay, Westerlands we shall do then. The poll is ended. 54% say no recounts allowed. 54% say Westerlands. Let's do Westerlands. Hold on a sec. Yeah, okay. Good. I had more trouble than I thought I would acquiring some sigils that someone made for me. That was quite annoying, but there we go. We'll go to those in a sec. But first off, the Lannister lion from the show. See, interestingly, unlike the Stark direwolf, which in the books is the full body and in the show is the head, they don't do a Lannister head here. They actually have the entire Lannister lion, which you think they'd just do the head to like really contrast with the Starks, but no, they do the golden lion on red. In fact, the Lannister one shouldn't be here because this is identical to the show version. It's a golden lion on red. Again, the colours are muted, but it's pretty much the same. And yeah. And the Cleganes, again, I also so again, the same as the book version, 3 black dogs on yellow, but the reason why I'm including this but not the Lannister one is because the Lannister lion I showed was like just a generic lion. These dogs look like Halloween dogs. These are like terrifying skeleton dogs. I have no idea what's going on here. This is terrifying. I forgot where I put the Cleganes last time. Just because, see, these dogs look like Scrappy-Doo. You know in that first live action Scooby-Doo film where Scrappy-Doo's like the horrific little creature that becomes a big buff villain? They look like Scrappy-Doo. They scare me. I don't like these Halloween dogs. They can go and eat here with the wet rat Mormont. And then finally House Lefford. So I thought this isn't super interesting, but I thought it was interesting that they have the tooth, the golden tooth of Lefford pointing downwards. So let me get the book version up. The book version up, as you can see. Oopsie. As you can see, golden tooth on sky blue and then a yellow sun, and it's meant to represent their castle, the Golden Tooth, which defends the Westerlands from the Riverlands. And in the show, the Golden Tooth is facing downwards. Maybe they thought, yeah, you do wonder, like, why? What's the point in? Is it aesthetically? Is it that much of a change? Is it really worth having it be down? Maybe they were like, well, if it's a tooth, we need to make it look more like a tooth, and it does look more like a tooth facing downwards than facing up. Maybe they were worried that like a big yellow pyramid, a big yellow tooth facing up looked too much like a pyramid. And they're like, why is there like a weird Egyptian pyramid sigil compared to this, which is more blatantly a tooth? I think I do prefer the tooth going down. Personally, it's not like a great sigil or anything, but I do prefer it. I'm gonna go D tier though, because it's just kind of like eh. Okay, we're gonna do quickfire round. The Tyrell sigil, it's a golden rose on green, but the reason why I'm not going to delete this like the Lannister one is that that's like grey. That's barely green. That's just a full on grey. Like there's muting colours and then there's that. That's an abomination. I'm not a fan of. I mean, it still looks lovely, but I'm going to put it in C tier because, like, come on, you can't have a grey background for that. House Florence is very different. House Florence is an entire fox. I think, again, this is spotted at a tourney or something. It's a whole ass fox in front of an ermine background versus the OG Florence sigil, which is a fox's head in front of ermine, but it's also surrounded by a ring of blue roses. So very flowery, very reachy, quite nice to look at. I'm a fan of it, not a fan of this. This looks lovely. This looks, again, it looks like some creature, some rodent, and like it's not even a proper white. It's a kind of horrible grey beige thing. So you can go down to E tier with the other strange creatures. What am I thinking? Hightower. The last one is Hightower. Oh my goodness, I did not mean to do that. So the difference here, again, it's a let's get it up. here we go. This how long this live stream been going on for a while. I thought this was going to be a quick one. This is nearly 2 hours, so I'll be super quick fire. The book one is the white high tower with flames burning on top, and it's on grey. And the show version is the white high tower looks a lot more minimalist. Weird, like compared to the Frey one, which is actually less minimalist than the show version, right? Like it's quite a detailed couple of towers. But then this high tower is like weirdly sci-fi. Like this is like a Dune sigil. And then on top the green flames, because they're in the books they don't really connect, the green faction with the high tower, any high tower color scheme. It's just that Alicent wears a green dress one day, and then they adopt green. That faction, the pro Aegon faction, adopts green as their color. Whereas in the show they try to tie green into House Hightower, which I really like. I don't like how sci-fi the tower looks. I like the use of green for the flames, but it doesn't look medievally enough. It's the tower. The tower lets it down. I'm going to go C tier though, because I like all the other aspects. And so we have made it through the sigils. Let me know what you think. It's the crack fox. Yeah, it's the crack fox. Sitting on the chair looking traumatized. This is what he used to be. This is before the crack. This is when he was just... Anyway, but there's more. So someone on Twitter was listening to my live stream where I talked about Rhaenyra's sigil, where I said that the quartered graphics design is my passion sigil, with the Arryn and the Targaryen and the Velaryon sigils all together. I'm not a fan of it. Lots of people don't like it. They tend to mock it. And he went about finding some cool, basically trying to make some cool sigils of his own that Rhaenyra could use in theory. And for some, the versions he sent me are super compressed, some more than others. I don't know if it's probably not his fault, it's probably on my end, so the quality is not high, but just look at them. Look at them as an idea. So first off, the red Targaryen dragon on the blue crescent moon on Arryn with the blue background. What do we think about this one? I personally don't like it. I think the red, white and blue don't go together well in this one. I appreciate the attempt, and I get the whole, it's linking Targaryen with Arryn, because her mother's an Arryn, and she wants the Arryn support, but I'm going to go E tier for that one. I think the colours don't work well together, but let me know if you... Yeah. Next up, we have a similar thing. And again, the quality, apologies for the quality. I think my Twitter was acting weird. I don't know why Anyway, but it's a similar concept, but there are Velaryon seahorses in the corners. I'll just edit out some of the things. There we go. So we're adding the Velaryon vibe to the Arryn sigil. I also am not a fan of this, unfortunately. Yeah, Flippy saying a black dragon would look better for this. I do agree with that. The red doesn't work. And this is the same sigil I don't like, but with seahorses in the corner. I appreciate bringing in the Velaryon, the Velaryons into it, but I just don't think it's very aesthetic. Doesn't work for me, but yeah. Okay, so people are saying that this is better. I think it's on the same level. I don't think the seahorses make it any better or worse. It's just an addition. But what other options do we have? We have a similar one, but the top half is the Arryn blue and the bottom half is the sea green of House Velaryon. And of course we still have the seahorses there. I think this is better, but I think I still don't like the Targaryen on a white circle, or on the moon, then on top. I don't know. It's the colours that don't quite work for me, and that's the issue, that you have to work with the Targaryen banner and the Velaryon colours and the Arryn colours, and they don't really go together. Not a fan of this one. I don't know if the person who designed these is in the chat currently, is watching currently. I hope they are. That would be cool. Oh, they are. Yes, they are in the... Hello. Hey, Peter. Is this better than the... I think, honestly, halving it does make it look better. But not by much, unfortunately. I think it's just hard in terms of colour schemes and designs. Like, it's a really good effort, but it's hard to get them right. I will say they are all better than Rhaenyra's actual one in the books. Like, don't get me wrong. And then we have this one, which is similar to the old one, but the Arryn Falcon is above, to really cement the Arryn support, right? Arryn, Velaryon. I'm also going to put this as D. I'm going to put this as D. You know what? Actually, I'm rethinking this one now. I actually think the simplicity is better. I think I might put this one in D tier. No, this isn't the worst one ever. I might put this C tier. I think I'm being harsh. C tier for this one, and then I actually, looking at them smaller. Oh no, I think these are an E. These are an E. I can see this like working in the show. Maybe with a darker blue. If this was a darker blue, I think that could work. But these three, I don't think they quite work. And then there's one more, which for some reason is absurdly compressed on my end. So, there we go. You're watching Fantasy Haven in 1080p. And here we have the black background, which is what Flippy wanted in the chat. Yeah, I think, honestly, what I would like to see is the red dragon on black, with just the blue Arryn background. I think that could work if the blue was darker blue. It doesn't include any Velaryon stuff, admittedly, but I think that's fine. Yeah, the black background is good. The halved with the seahorses and Arryn sigil, it is fine. I'm going to go D tier for this one. I think, they're three sigils that don't go well together, which is why even the book version looks bad. But yeah, there's too much going on, and I get that's the point. I don't know, is there a simpler way? I don't know. But thank you very much for making them. They're pretty awesome to like. Yeah, to just log on and see some cool ideas. Peter said, just some ideas I had for 5 minutes. Yeah. I know it's not like you laboured over these for hours and hours. You cooked them up while I was doing a live stream and sent them to me in the hope that in that live stream I'd see it. But yeah, thank you so much for sending them to me. I think it's really cool to see people do their own personal interpretations and designs of sigils and mixing and matching stuff. It's really cool. Keep doing it. Genuinely, keep doing it. And thank you for the super chat from Lala Loopsy, who says, Lord Haven, I have rued the day where you put Littlefinger's piss sigil in A tier. Friendship ended. People, really, this might be the most. This is what will get me cancelled. I think it's cool. I think it's cool. A black mockingbird on gold is kind of cool. Is it just me? Yeah, LJ is saying make it a blue dragon on white. Blue is just not Targaryen. Yeah, it's just you're working with colours that don't go together, but I'm sure there's like a perfect combination of colours and symbols that are like that like really have a bite to them, you know. And then finally, before we wrap up, Robocart on Instagram, who are they in the chat? Their chat is their name in the chat is different. I'm not sure if they're still here. We'll see. Yeah, but Robocart or Robocart created a bunch of sigils for different A Song of Ice and Fire YouTubers. So we will finish up looking at these and ranking these, and then we'll wrap up, because I didn't want to move these to like another live stream, because I think it would have been like that would have been a really short live stream. I could delay these. Oh, there's way more than I actually thought there were going to be. Oh, there's a lot. Oh god, there's a lot. Yeah, no, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, there's 18. I didn't expect them. Yes. Yggdrasil, I don't know how to pronounce that, says, I'm here. They're in the chat. Okay, this is going to be rapid fire, okay? Because I need to eat. Rapid fire. So, Captain Time. I don't actually know who Captain Time is. But House Time. Let's crop that sigil down. Taken from the channel Avatar, the light blue of the tree is meant to be evocative of ice. Cool. I think that looks really cool. That's actually like an icy blue tree on dark blue. That's really cool to me. I'm going to go... That actually slaps. I'm going to go A tier. I'm feeling generous. Okay. Next up. House Alton of Shiftmark. Alt Shift X. The blue saltire. 5-pointed star to represent space and science fiction, because he talks about the expanse. 7-pointed star to represent magic and religion, and by extension, fantasy. My goodness. Dogs be barking. I think there's a dog fight going on. And then the ships represent exploration, and Alt-Shift-X is what you press on Wiki to be taken to a random place. So it's all about exploring and discovering new things. Really cool idea. It's aesthetically nice. It's quite simple, but I like the connections. I'm going to put that in. Of course, the colours are simple because it's the Alt-Shift-X colours. In terms of viewing it in a vacuum, just as a sigil, I think C tier. It's average. Oh, whoa, what the hell happened there? There we go. Next up, hold on, I might need to, yeah. Next up we have Alt-Shift-X, which is of course, Alt-Shift-X's arch nemesis and renowned bastard. So, because it's more fun and funny content, there's a jester, but it doesn't shy away from serious topics, so there's a skull. A skull with a jester's hat is like something I'd expect out of A Song of Ice and Fire. That really goes well. These are like genuinely like A Song of Ice and Fire tier sigils. I really like them. And then we have the wavy X, the wavy saltire, with the green of Alt-Shift-X, so it's a lot more goofy, it's more fluid. I think a jester's skull with a jester's hat is like really nice. I think obviously you're going with the green Alt-Shift-X colour, that makes sense, but if I were to look at this in a vacuum, I'd want that background to be a better colour than green, but I think that goes really hard. A jester's skull is really cool. And next up, okay, I'm being too slow. I'm not going to do all of these. I'm going to do the YouTubers I've actually watched, because otherwise I'm not going to get the references. Company of the Cat. Feel free to subscribe to Company of the Cat. Wonderful accent. Here we have a nice black cat, a shadow cat, and a nod to the channel name. Black shadow cat and white, bordered by green with acorns, right? The role of oak trees in the history and religion of Song of Ice and Fire. That's cool. So Catwood, I like that. House Catwood. I also like the names as well. I think Black Shadow Cat and White is cool. Bordered by acorns. I think there's too much of a clash there aesthetically. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm going to go D tier, but I love the name House Catwood. Supercut's Delight, I have also seen. Yeah. So, yeah, House Cutter. And then Medieval Scissors, very nice. And then, yeah, they have blue and white, so we have blue on white. Wagon Wheel, because of a film reel. Yeah. I like that. Wagon Wheel, like the film reel. And Scissors, because he's cutting, yeah. How does it look in a vacuum? D tier, maybe? Actually, no, E tier. I'm going E tier, not because it's not well done, because it is well done and it's a nice reference. But if this were in the books, I would be like, Scissors? Nah, that's lame. We want more than Scissors. I'll save Fancy Haven to last. Glimbo, Glidus, House Glidus. That's actually, yeah, with a Y. Very nice. George would be proud. A rework of his channel Avatar. It almost turned into a black lightning bolt. Ordinary is Fest double Cotist rotated 90 degrees. Don't know what that means, but that sounds cool. That's probably the white stuff. Resembles strings on an instrument, hinting that Glidus' occupation is musician. That is awesome. So you have the black and grey of Glidus. It is funny that his colour scheme is black and grey, which is really boring considering how insanely entertaining Glidus is. Pronunciation, man. Come on. Enunciation, rather. Yeah, that looks cool. As a sigil, black lightning bolt, white, grey, that's fine. That's like a C, I think. What else do we have? I'm gonna skip. Yeah, I'm skipping some because I need to wrap up. I don't know who that is. Okay, I'll go back to him. So, of course, next up we have Preston Jacobs, House Jacobus. The face, clearly Sweet Robin. The third green eye open. Crazy Preston theories. What's in the background? Shared consciousness in the series. Ice and fire. Ah, yes, but the background is ice and fire. His focus on ice and fire. Yeah, that's a really intriguing, enigmatic sigil. Very nice. I'll put that B tier because it is so unique. Yeah. Yggdrasil was saying, the person who created this is saying, oh, this is the worst. I had no idea how to use Photoshop at the time. No, that's fine. I'm ranking it based on the concept more so than visually, right? Which is what I do for the... I mean, they look arguably like this looks better than the Microsoft Paint ass stuff on the wiki. Do not worry. Doing the rest next time? I probably not. No, this is probably going to be my last sigil tier list. I didn't want to do a separate one that's just these sigils. But I'm running very late, and so I'm not doing every single one, and I don't know all of the YouTubers either. So, but I do know Quinn's ideas. Gradually moved on from fantasy being mostly science fiction, with extra attention on Dune. Now that I've started reading Dune and I'm now on Dune Messiah, I should probably check out Quinn's ideas once I finish the series. That would be cool. But interpretation of the Valyrian fireworm serves a similar role to the sandworms of Dune. Ooh, but instead of sand, they bore through rock. So we have the fireworm, star-spangled background, evocative of space, and the stars are blue like the eyes of the Fremen in the Dune books after consuming the spice. So like it's like a fireworm in space. That's a really cool symbol. I'm gonna go B tier for that, for House Quinn. Not to be confused with Quinn the GM, although the only reason I clicked on my first Quinn the GM video is that I thought it was like Quinn's Ideas second channel, and I was like, oh, he's gone back to Song of Ice and Fire, and it was Quinn the GM. I was like, who's this nerd? I know Mira reads. So, not intensely, but I know a bit of Mira reads. So, very striking. Yeah, striking avatar is a black cat on a crescent moon reading a book. Really cool. And so here, quartered, we have a crescent moon, a black cat. What else do we have? Children of the Forest. A Children of the Forest cat, in a way. And, what's this? Burial mounds. Ooh, interesting. So, House Readley. I do like quartered sigils because they tell a really fun story. I'm gonna go. Yeah, a cat, a child of the forest, a burial mound, and a moon. That's so intriguing. I'm gonna put it in B tier, I think. We have 4 more to get through. We have a red team review, also known as Carmine. So the purple is taken from the avatar in his profile picture. And then it's a middle finger up because his avatar's doing the middle fingers. The hand is maimed and bloody. Yeah. A reference to Littlefinger, Carmine's favourite character, because the fingers are missing. Oh yes, it's not just middle fingers up, but the fingers have been cut out. So a red hand where the fingers are cut off, but the middle finger, which is sticking up rudely, is genuinely really funny. And it's on blue. On purple, sorry. I'm going to put that on A tier. Yeah, that's cool. 3 to go. Trey the Explainer. So yeah, on the front we have his avatar. But here it's like a Sathori lizard, or Sathori animal creature, inspired by the avatar. And then we have what about the background? Have I missed that? Oh, yellow and brown. Yeah. Oh, that's not yellow, that's green. But a hole in the ground. Videos on archaeology and paleontology. Okay, cool. I haven't watched Trey the Explainer, but I just put him up because he's been interacting with Preston and Carmine recently, so some of you may know him. Trey the Explainer. I'm going to put this sigil... I might put this down to... No, visually I might go D because it is a bit Pokemon, but the concept of it being like a lizard creature from Thesaurios... oh my god, Thesaurios, there we go. It's kind of intriguing. I'm gonna stick with D tier personally for that one. 2 to go. We have Quinn the GM. Oh, that's cute. Back when he had 20,000 subs. Oh, who remembers that? That bastard. Another Quinn house. Oh my goodness. Are they both called Quinn? But this is a cadet branch. This is House Quinn of Maesterton. So here we have, the background is obviously blue for Quinn the GM. There's the Checky field to represent board games because his channel used to be about Dungeons and Dragons. And then the Maester's chain because his videos are all about, basically his videos are mini video essays about the books. And some cool explaining the lore and stuff. So, yeah, I like that. Maester Quinn. Oh, and also, like, as a GM, he's a Grandmaster, right? A Game Master, sorry, so like a Game Maester, in a way. Out of context, in a vacuum, how does that sigil look? Colourful Maester chains on a purple field is cool around the black and white Checky. I think it's almost too much going on in terms of colours, but I do like the elements within, so I'll go halfway with Lil Quinn. But we have one left of my very short live stream, which has turned out to be 2.5 hours. My goodness, maybe I shouldn't have started an hour late. House Haven, hooray! This is me. Back when I had 16k subscribers. That's cool. So Haven can refer to sanctuary. Chose to give the shield embattled party profess to invoke a castle wall, a haven, safety and protection. And it's also a reference to castle symbolism used by House Frey, which I covered extensively, not extensively enough, if you ask some people. The big blue eyes are a reference to the large eyes I give the characters in my lore videos, yeah. So the big blue eyes above, on purple, above the shield. Obviously, this is S tier. Shout out to House Haven. And there, I believe... So thank you very much. The people who sent in their fun little sigils. I always planned to do them, and I only remembered to do them this stream. I was like, oh shit, yeah. But yeah, that's fine. They're yeah, just checking the chat. Okay, I think I'll wrap up now. So like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Check out the Patreon if you're interested in some fun rewards and goodies and teasers and exclusive videos and content. Speaking of House Dane, there's an exclusive House Dane video. There's an extended House Royce video. It's wonderful. But if you're not interested in that, then you can also support me by buying some merch. Again, t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, lots of fun stuff. But if you're not interested in that either, that's fine. All you need to do is come along to the streams and videos and have fun, really. That's all I can ask of you. So thank you so much for coming. Take it easy. And there will be a live stream tomorrow with Quinn the GM. Ah, twist. Let me quickly check my super chat to make sure I haven't accidentally missed one. I haven't. Okay. Cool. Live stream with Quinn the GM tomorrow. I think it'll be a continuation of our schema tier ranking live streams. Series. Yeah. See ya. I'm hungry. I'm so hungry.